Hey, Pretty Girl Club. Welcome to another episode of Comment, Foolery, Exposed. I want to talk about how a lot of unambiguous mono dark skinned black women like to pretend that we all look alike. It's so funny how, on the one hand, it's racist to say that all people of black descent look alike, but on the other hand, when I finally acknowledge my privilege and when we finally create a space for ourselves and we come on the Exoticals United YouTube channel and say, hey, yes, we benefit from either colorism, texturism, featureism, mixed race privilege, etc., then suddenly people want to do that same thing again, where they're like, oh, Beyonce just looks like an average, everyday, unambiguous black woman with a nose job. This is exactly the rhetoric I'm talking about. These are the women who are unambiguous and they approximate themselves to light skinned women by saying, my cousin looks like that, my auntie looks like that, my brother's baby mama looks like that. And that's fine if that's true, but that doesn't negate the fact that colorism, texturism, and featureism exist. Beyonce will benefit from things like colorism. So to pretend that she looks just like any other average everyday woman in the black community is disingenuous. If every African American woman looked exactly like Beyonce, we wouldn't even be having this argument right now. And I've also noticed that unambiguous women got mad at my picture of what an actual unambiguous representation is on this channel. And the first thing is, this is my channel. I can do whatever I want. I can use whatever images I want. I can use whatever talking points I want. And let's be honest, this is what a lot of unambiguous women look like without makeup or wigs on. And by the way, I'm not against makeup and wigs. I am pro beauty enhancement. I don't care if unambiguous women want to wear wigs or weaves or contacts. I don't care what beauty enhancements people want to wear, but for the sake of this channel, so that I can avoid confusion, I like to use pictures that are accurate representations of what an unambiguous woman looks like without wigs or makeup. And it's funny because people will say, oh, well, Beyonce has had a nose job, Rihanna has had a nose job. But then when I show a picture of an unambiguous woman with no nose job, then they say, well, that's not an accurate representation. And it's like, well, which one is it? So you want me to show an unambiguous woman with a nose job compared to Beyonce without a nose job so that you can say, I look just like Beyonce. I've also noticed that some people like to say you look black as a humbling tactic, and they don't realize that by saying that, they're actually dissing themselves. Because number one, what's wrong with looking black? Usually when someone says you look like a regular black woman, what they really mean is you're not white passing. So I've noticed that anyone who is mixed race and non-white passing, they're going to automatically throw into the unambiguous black category. I've noticed that some people will say, oh, people like Justine Skye and Jasmine Tooks, they look like everyday, regular, unambiguous black women. No, they do not. The average unambiguous woman who is 85 to 90% African does not have type 2 hair. This is exactly what I'm talking about when I say people are being disingenuous. If you want to make any progress in the colorism, texturism, or featureism conversation, we need to actually talk about colorism, texturism, or featureism. Just because someone is dark-skinned, it does not mean that they're automatically going to have all the same experiences as an unambiguous woman like the one in the photo. The fact that they even needed to create a term called unambiguous shows that there's a difference. I didn't create that term unambiguous. The first person I heard use that term was Chrissy. And so they're using that term because they're saying that there is a difference between someone who looks like Tisha Campbell or Beyonce or Zendaya or even Justine Skye and Jasmine Tooks. There is a difference in looks between them versus someone who has West African features. And the reason that I'm talking about kind of like these West African or Bantu features is because I've noticed that whenever people talk about featureism, they're talking about featureism against West African features. That's exactly why I chose a woman who has those features. I'm talking about the wider, flatter nose with the fuller lips and kind of like a wider jaw with the type 4 hair. I'm not saying that there are people in Africa who don't look like this, but this is the example that I'm using for unambiguous because this is what I got from the other YouTube channels that were bashing our phenotype. I've noticed that another thing that people are trying to say is, oh, exoticals are mean girls. So how is it mean to show a picture of what you guys actually look like? I don't see anything wrong with this picture of this woman. Just admit that you think your own features are ugly to the point where instead of representing your own features, you want to brag about how your cousin looks like Beyonce. Has anyone noticed that? A lot of unambiguous monoracial dark-skinned black women, they never brag about their own features. They brag about the light skins in their family. They brag about the mixed people in their family. They brag about divesting and creating mixed babies. And then when you're actually creating a conversation and there are thousands of people who can relate to what you have to say, then suddenly, oh, well, you're being mean and you're like trying to divide things up. This is just a YouTube channel. This is not an actual political movement or anything. So I don't really feel like anything's actually being divided at all. I'm just a random person online who's talking. But let's get into some of these comments. This girl says, yeah, my algorithm is a disgrace, mostly because of all those EU copycat channels. Okay, well, you do know that your algorithm is controlled by you, right? Your YouTube algorithm is controlled by the videos you click on. And I really think that people are mad because we make better content over here. I mean, we do straight up, we make excellent content in this space because over here on this side of YouTube, in the Pretty Girl Club, we actually talk about things that are very nuanced. I think that a lot of unambiguous women are actually threatened by my channel, not because of the whole mixed race thing, but because of my actual talking points. They're threatened because my content is actually good. They're threatened because our content over here is actually very in-depth, and we talk about how to overcome inferiority complexes. We talk about the psychology of beauty standards over here. We're telling story times over here. So it's not just like constant rage baiting like what you see in a lot of unambiguous spaces where they're like, oh my God, this makeup is blackface paint, and oh my God, everybody's making fun of Juliet, and oh my God, nobody likes dark-skinned women, and oh my God, everybody's a colorist. So I think that the real reason that people are threatened by us creating our own YouTube channels is because they know deep down inside that our content is actually good and that they want to watch the content. They just don't like that such good content is coming from someone who doesn't look like them. And so as a coping mechanism, they will try to approximate themselves to us by saying, Beyonce looks like every woman in Houston. Beyonce does not look like every woman in Houston. That's an idiotic talking point. Or they'll try to say, well, you guys are being mean. It doesn't matter anyway. The only people who care are Africans. And even if that's true, even if the only people complaining were Africans or non-African Americans, well, America is becoming more and more of a melting pot every day. And also, this channel, even though I'm American, this channel has people following it from all over the world. And so this talking point, or like light-skinned people creating YouTube channels, there are light-skinned people all over the world who make YouTube channels. There are mixed race black women who make YouTube channels all over the world. And so I'm not going to exclude people or be like, oh, it doesn't matter what people say because they're African. I mean, people who have an African background, they have a voice as well. I mean, they're the ones who have dominated the black women empowerment space. I would say altogether, they probably have over 1 million subscribers. Like if you combine all of their channels, okay, so that's 1 million people that are not talking about things from our perspective as black women who are not unambiguous, monoracial, dark skin. So we still need to create a response anyway, and we still have the right to. Someone else said, desirability politics, yet all these women are lumped into the same group, black, and still only 23% of them will ever get married. This is laughable. So the fact that you are trying to insult exoticals based off of marriage statistics, first of all, that's an extremely male-centered insult. This channel actually has nothing to do with trying to get a man, trying to attract a man. This is a decentering men channel. I'm not against people getting married if that's what they want. And also, we are all lumped into the same group, black. So if we were truly all lumped into the same group, that would mean that colorism, texturism, or featureism don't exist. But we all know that that's false and that it does exist. So clearly we're not all lumped into the same group. Otherwise, you guys wouldn't have to create terms like unambiguous. You guys wouldn't even have terms like light skin. There would be no such thing, right? Because we'd all just be black, all just lumped into the same group. We would all have the same experiences. No, there are some women who have it harder. You guys have said it yourselves. You have it harder. You're at the bottom. You're the least protected. You're the least provided for. Now they're saying he only wants to go 50-50 with you if you're black. So you guys are the ones who are differentiating. In the past, we didn't make a differentiation. Isn't it funny how these YouTube channels have been online for over 10 years? Nobody had a problem. light-skinned women were just, letting them talk, letting them bash our names. And now women like Chrissy have hidden their videos because they don't want to be exposed for their hatred and envy about light-skinned women. By the way, that's a success for us because Chrissy's not going to make another video against light-skinned women. She has learned her lesson, so I'm glad to see that. But it's funny how when unambiguous women talk about their experiences for 10 years, it's no problem. But then suddenly, when we make response channels, now, oh, we're just all black. We all have the same exact experiences. Well, what are you talking about? My cousin looks like Beyonce. Well, where was that energy for the last 10 years when you guys were making these channels where you were excluding people who looked like how Beyonce looked? And calling us things like preferences or exoticals or light skin, or you were saying that we benefit from isms such as colorism, texturism, or featureism. Where was this energy back then? So no, don't try to backtrack and then suddenly be like, oh, well, you know what? I'm done with the colorism conversation. I'm ready to move on now. I don't want to talk about this. Who cares? Let's all just level up. Of course we can all level up. Exoticals have been leveling up. We are vice presidents. People from our community have become the president of the United States, vice presidents. We have been becoming billionaires, creating makeup lines called Fenty Beauty. We've been over here winning Grammys, like Beyonce has been doing that. A lot of us have already been leveling up. So what are you guys talking about? What have you guys been doing for the last 10 or 20 years? And also, people do not see us all as unambiguously black. When I use the term black on this channel, black women, I make sure to differentiate between unambiguous black women and black women who have ambiguity in their phenotype, in their race, or in their experiences. The only people who don't understand this channel are people who think exotical is a race. The exotical is really just a troll slang term that I stole from the Black women empowerment space. I took it back as a way to throw it in their face and say, hey, if you're calling us all exotic, okay, fine. I'll take that insult and I'll turn it around into my own thing. But that's actually false, that we're all viewed as exactly the same. To say that a woman like Beyonce looks exactly the same or has the same experience as this unambiguous mono dark-skinned black woman, that's disingenuous. Because once again, by saying that it's all the same or we're all black or we all look exactly the same, you are actually erasing the experiences of unambiguous black women. You're erasing colorism, texturism, and featureism and pretending like they don't exist. If we all truly had the same experience, why do we dominate in the media then? If it's all the same experience, and to the white man, we're all black. And also, why are you so white male centered? This is another thing that I've noticed about unambiguous black women. A lot of their talking points are very white male centered. Oh, well, to the white man, we're all black. To the racist white cops, you're going to get discriminated against. It's like, why are you so obsessed with what white people think of you? Why are you living your life based on what a white man thinks? And also, it's not true. Like, even if you are living your life only based on what a white guy thinks, even white guys know the difference. I've been called light-skinned by white people before. I've heard white men say that they don't date unambiguous black women. They don't say unambiguous, but I've literally talked to white guys in high school and I've pulled up pictures of Beyonce versus other types of black women, and they will point out and say, oh, I like how Halle Berry looks or Beyonce or whatever. So other people do know the difference, and I'm not trying to throw that in people's faces because I don't really see that as a flex. I'm not white male centered. But for this commenter, yeah, I'm sorry, but unfortunately, yes, there is a difference. People do see a difference. Now, does that mean that you're at the bottom? I don't know. You tell me. You guys have said that you felt like you're at the bottom. So being at the bottom means that you're implying other women are not at the bottom and that you are. I didn't say it. This is what you guys have said about yourselves. But yes, there's definitely a difference, and that's why you see us in the media representing unambiguous blackness. We have dominated the media so much so to the point where the average unambiguous person thinks that African Americans are all, biracial. That's how much we've dominated the media, so much so to where your eye has been trained to view mixed as being black. And a lot of times when people say, oh, I'm mixed race, you'll be like, oh, I thought you were just black. Yeah, that's because you were basing your definition of blackness off of what you see in the media. And so if all white people thought we all looked the same, then you wouldn't be mixing up mixed people with unambiguous blackness. You wouldn't even be mixing that up. So this comment right here is very disingenuous. And the whole talking point about desirability politics, I didn't create that term. The only women that I've seen use that term, desirability politics, are unambiguous mono dark-skinned black women. And what they're trying to say is other types of women are more desirable than myself. That's what they're saying. Just like that woman who went on Tinder and she had a photoshopped picture of herself. She made herself light skinned and then she had a different experience on the dating app. People swear up and down that we need to acknowledge our privilege. And then suddenly when we do acknowledge our privilege in spaces like this and we say, hey, yeah, we benefit from either texturism, featureism, or colorism, or we're mixed race, then suddenly it's, oh, no, you don't. We're all black. We're all seen as exactly the same. If we were all seen as exactly the same, why did you guys complain about the natural hair movement and us taking over the natural hair movement? I thought we were all exactly the same, right? We all have the same hair texture, same skin tone, same features. So then I don't want to hear anything about you feeling replaced. How could you be replaced if we were all exactly the same? You wouldn't be replaced because we would all be a monolith, right? This person said, that's what I was thinking. Black men will date just as much dark-skinned unambiguous women as he would date an exotical. And white men consider exoticals as black, just the same as dark-skinned black women. So the whole notion of being jealous of an exotical boils down to nothing. They have nothing to show for their so-called beauty. We have so much to show for our so-called beauty and desirability that they've had to create new terms such as unambiguous black, texturism, colorism, featureism, and desirability politics to describe the differences in experience between those who are considered quote-unquote privileged in the black community and those who are not. So saying that it boils down to nothing is basically implying that colorism, texturism, or featureism and anti-blackness don't exist. So we all know that that's disingenuous right there. This person is doing some heavy coping. She's trying really hard to cope with the fact that other women have different experiences and different phenotypes than her own. And also, have you ever noticed that the main people that get mad about you embracing your light skin tone, those are people who, it's all based on dating. So the last comment was about who white men desire, and now this comment is about who black men desire or who black men want to date. So a lot of these women who make these channels complaining about colorism, it boils down to a man. It boils down to, oh, this black guy likes you more than me, or black men are colorist, or they'll try to brag and flex and say, oh, I'm more desirable to the white man. And if you truly were more desirable to white men, then we wouldn't see thousands of unambiguous women complaining about their dating experiences. There wouldn't even need to be a divestment movement, right? Because they would naturally have already been divested, because white men, they would have all been with white men. And also, I'm not against swirling, because this actually goes along with my talking point that a lot of people want to date us or create us, especially in the black community. Most people are going to date us or create us. Most black women are going to date a mixed race or light-skinned man who looks like my brother, or they're going to create us by divesting with a man who is of another race, he's non-black, and then their children are going to still look like me. So you bragging and saying, oh, I can get with the black man or get with the white man, it doesn't really matter to me, because I know that any quote-unquote black man you get with is most likely not going to be an unambiguous mono dark-skinned black man, because you guys think they're all colorist and stuff, or you guys tend to think that they're colorist. So you're probably going to get with a biracial type of black man, so you're still creating a child that is going to be lighter than you. You're going to create a child that's going to look more like myself or more like, the women that you are complaining about. So bragging about being with the white man is not the flex you think it is, because you're still building my community. You're still building the mixed race community. Someone else said, she does not. Having a light skin and a bleach blonde hair doesn't make you look mixed. Old pictures of her before surgery or the blonde hair look like any other light-skinned black American chick. They're talking about Beyonce. So this channel embraces light-skinned black American women. So I'm not sure if she's speaking against my channel or in general, but Beyonce would absolutely have privilege in the black community. Beyonce, so many people complain about Beyonce benefiting from colorism to the point where even Kelly Rowland herself and Matthew Knowles have gone on interviews talking about this. So to pretend that Beyonce is just like she has the same exact experience as any unambiguous dark-skinned mono black woman and that she won't experience any privilege, once again, that's disingenuous. And so this is what I'm talking about. It's a heavy coping mechanism. And then when you as a light-skinned person say, okay, yeah, we're all black, that's fine. And then I'm going to represent you in the media then. I'm going to be in black pageants then. Because, we're all black, right? I'm going to go to the HBCUs and hang out in the black community because we're all black. So then when you agree with them and say, okay, fine, we're all black, then they have a problem. And then they say, you're replacing us. You're not black. Cardi B, you're not black. But Cardi B has probably been told, you look like an average, everyday, light-skinned black woman. So then she goes in the black community and profits off of it. Then suddenly people want to get mad and say, she's replacing us. Someone said, this is light-skinned women's typical way, the ones that believe they are better. They will spew colorism and racism in a heartbeat when they feel no one is kissing their ass. So who's spewing colorism and racism? That's number one. My channel would have been gone if I was truly spewing colorism and racism. And also, they will do that in a heartbeat when they feel no one is kissing their ass. Please tell me, what is this kissing their ass behavior that you're talking about? Are you talking about us being complimented? Because usually when people say you have light skin privilege or like, you're just mad that nobody's bowing down to you, anytime they describe the different experiences that light skinned women have, aka kissing their ass, it's simply receiving a compliment. So are you so validation starved to the point where you think that a guy complimenting me is me getting my ass kissed? These people are exposing themselves. Someone else said, honestly, I don't know a lot of light-skinned women except my mom and a few family members. Thank you. I'm so glad that people are finally admitting this, because people love bragging about how their next door neighbor's light-skinned, everybody's yellow bone, red bone. And it's like, you know that that's not true. It's not true that everybody's a red bone and yellow bone. You just ignore dark-skinned black women when you walk in the Walmart or when they come out with music like Normani, like how her song didn't chart because unambiguous black women ignore women who look like them and they only pay attention to light skin and red bones. So of course they think everybody's a light skin red bone because that's all you notice. That's all you pay attention to. That's all you listen to. That's all you watch on movies. A lot of you guys won't even click on a song or a movie if the woman doesn't look like Tyla. So of course you guys have a skewed perception and you believe, oh, all of us, what are you talking about? She looks like an everyday black woman. Somebody said that Tyla was an unambiguous brown-skinned black woman. Like, that's how much people are obsessed with the mixed race or light-skinned phenotype. They're so obsessed with it to the point where they literally overlook the millions of unambiguous women who look just like themselves, and then it skews their perception, and then they think, what do you mean? All of us look exactly the same. But then if you agree with that, and if you say, okay, yeah, you're right, you're just super, your phenotype is just nobody has it then. Nobody looks like this unambiguous black woman in the photo then. That's just a super rare phenotype that shouldn't get as much representation because it's so rare then. Then suddenly they say, oh, well, that's colorist. So which one is it? Someone said, I just never really see them where I live now, but I don't think skin color makes a difference. The meanest women I have ever met was a dark-skinned black woman, actually 2 of them I've met in the same year, meaning they were mean to me for no reason. On random instances. A light-skinned black woman I met the same year was very kind and would bring us free cakes from her job for no reason, and we barely knew her. So at least this woman is admitting something. Somebody said, to be honest, y'all exoticals are really the mean girls. Y'all call people who are mixed not mixed because we look black. That's basically what EU says in her videos. Y'all are so counterproductive. That's completely false. I talk all the time about how dark-skinned mixed women, such as Justine Skye or like Jasmine Tooks, are the standard for dark-skinned, unambiguous black women. I have multiple videos on that to the point where now people are trying to say, she's pandering to black women. Anybody who has been on my YouTube channel for years and watched all 490 of my videos knows that my audience is the same. Just because you're dark skinned doesn't mean that you're not mixed. This person says this is why she needs to stop clinging to these celebrities and using them as an example. Who else am I supposed to use as an example? Why is it that everybody on YouTube can use celebrities as an example, but suddenly exoticals, you guys can't use celebrities as your examples? No, we're going to use celebrities because celebrities are people that everyone knows, and it's someone that I can easily describe. Like if I talk about Rihanna's phenotype, having light skin and light eyes, people know what I'm talking about because she's a celebrity. That's not clinging to a celebrity. If anybody clings to celebrities, it's you guys. This girl says, Beyonce and Rihanna have also had nose jobs. I'm not saying they don't have ambiguous features, but still. Right, somebody having a nose job, even if your beauty is fake or your ambiguity is fake, you're still going to benefit from isms. This is why people bleach their skin, because they know that even if their skin tone is fake, they're still benefiting from colorism. They're still receiving light skin privilege. Nobody's going to say, oh, can I see your baby pictures before I decide to give you light skin privilege? Oh, Beyonce, can I see a picture of you before your nose job before I decide to give you this Grammy? Oh, excuse me, can I see a picture of you before you had plastic surgery before I decide to date you? So that's my point. people will receive privileges whether that beauty is real or fake, hence why a lot of unambiguous women wear weaves and wigs that are hair textures similar to dark-skinned mixed women like Justine Skye or Jasmine Tooks, because they know that they will benefit from texturism, or that they won't face as much discrimination for their 4C hair textures, even if their hair is fake, even if it's a wig. They know that nobody's going to really talk crap about their 4C hair because they're not showing it. Hence why a lot of women choose to wear wigs. And they've said this on their channel, so don't even try to come over here and say, that's not true. Yes, it is true, because a lot of black women have said it themselves that they feel their hair is unacceptable. And so that's why they wear the wigs and weaves in some cases, because they believe that it gives them a small form of privilege to have hair that is more like a mixed race woman, like in the workplace or at an interview or something like that. So whether the beauty enhancement or the hair is fake or real doesn't matter on this channel, because I understand that people aren't going to ask you if something is real before they determine how to treat you. People judge you just based on how you look, just in general. People stereotype you just when you're walking in the grocery store. They're not thinking to themselves, well, is her skin tone real, or is that contact? No, they just look and see, okay, she has long hair, or she has whatever eye color or whatever skin tone. So this person attempting to say that Beyonce and Rihanna have had nose jobs and therefore they have the same experiences as unambiguous black women, that's disingenuous. And have you ever noticed how a lot of people love to call out the fake beauty of mixed race women or light-skinned women? But I don't see anybody talking about Kelly Rowland. Kelly Rowland looks like a different person than she did when she first started Destiny's Child. But this goes back to my talking point that unambiguous black women ignore other unambiguous black women, so much so to the point where they think everybody's a red bone, they think everybody's light-skinned, they think everybody has type 2 hair, they think everybody looks like Justine Skye, everybody looks like Jasmine Tooks, and it's like, no, you just ignore everyone who does not look like that. So of course you have a skewed perception. This is no different than red pill guys who say, you're just a 6 at best. It's like, no, the only women you encounter are women on movies and media and in porn. Those women on those media sites and stuff they have above average bodies, or they're skinny, or they have makeup and beauty enhancements. So of course, if you see a woman who matches that beauty in real life, you're going to think it's average because that's all you look at. You ignore anyone who doesn't look like that. So of course you think, oh, this is normal to have straight white teeth and perfectly clear skin and a flat stomach and a nice body. The average person doesn't look like that. And so that's exactly what I'm talking about. I've noticed a lot of unambiguous black women, because they ignore themselves and their own phenotypes so much, they think that this whole world is just flooded with Beyoncés. It's just flooded with Rihannas. Everybody looks like Beyonce in Houston. And it's like, no, everybody that you notice looks like Beyonce. This person said, I was surprised to see she talked about surgeries in her last video, but it was because she claims she gets told she looks like these celebs because of her narrow nose. This person says, she is so tone deaf. She's using a picture of Zonique, who had surgery to change her eye color to promote a story about eye color jealousy. Zonique doesn't have naturally light eyes, but the point still stands. Having lighter eyes, whether they're contacts, whether it's a surgery, or whether you were born with it, is going to make people perceive you differently. Because when people see someone like Zonique, they're not going to say, hey, did you have surgery on your eyes? Like, let's say Zonique was not famous and she went to a job interview with her eyes. They're not going to ask her in the interview, before I hire you, did you have a surgery on your eyes? They're not going to ask her that. And the reason that I bring up surgeries is because a lot of people, they like to call out when a woman who is light-skinned does something that increases her ambiguity even more. Just like how the last person, they felt a need to bring up Beyonce and Rihanna's nose jobs. So people do the same thing to Zonique. They bring up when Zonique has an eye surgery, or they bring up when a light-skinned woman has a weave on. Why? Because it looks more natural on her, or that's the way that they perceive it. They perceive it as looking more natural and believable on her versus an unambiguous mono dark-skinned black woman who has had some sort of eye color surgery or something. And so that's why I bring up the surgeries as an example, because women get jealous over plastic surgeries. Yes, I said it. Women get jealous over plastic surgeries just like they get jealous over natural beauty. I've seen women be jealous of how good a girl's weave looks. I've seen women get jealous of a woman who gets a liposuction, or a woman who gets some sort of nose job or a beauty enhancing surgery. You can say what you want about Rihanna and Beyonce getting nose jobs, but they look good. That's the only reason you're calling it out. It's because their nose jobs look good and because they look beautiful with their nose jobs. The only reason you're mad about Zonique is because Zonique looks beautiful with her eye surgery. And I feel like some people just get mad because when you do a beauty enhancement, it looks effortless. And then when they do a beauty enhancement, sometimes it looks very forced. And so I've noticed that for the women who feel like their beauty enhancements look forced, they often get jealous of the women whose beauty enhancements look effortless and natural. And so that's what this is right here. The person commenting on Zonique, and that's what it was when the woman was commenting on Beyonce and Rihanna's nose jobs. But what do you ladies think? Do you think we all have the exact same experiences? Have you ever had anyone get jealous of your beauty enhancements? Like, let's say you wore some contacts or a weave or something and you look really cute. Have you ever had anyone get jealous over that? Let me know what you think in the comment section, and I'll talk to you next time. Stay pretty, ladies.